Impulsivity is a gift. Impulses are your key to the miraculous. Your distractibility is an artifact of your inspired creativity. Your mood swings reflect the natural pulse of life. They give you unstoppable energy when you're high, deep soulful insight when you're low. And diagnosed with a disorder, that's society's latest way to deny its own illness by pointing the finger at you. Your addictive personality is just a symptom of your vast, underused capacity for heroic creative expression and spiritual connection. Your utter lack of repression, your wide-eyed idealism, your unmitigated open mind. Didn't anyone ever tell you? These are the traits shared by the greatest pioneers and visionaries, innovators, revolutionaries, procrastinators, and drama queens, activists on the social scene, space cadets, and mavericks, philosophers, and derelicts, business suits, flying fighter jets, football stars and sex addicts, celebrities with ADD, alcoholics who seek technology, first responders, prophets and saints, mystics, and change agents. We are all the same, you know, 'cause we're all affected by the way. We are all the same, you know, 'cause we're all attracted to the flame. You know in your heart there's a natural order, something more sovereign than any man-made rules or laws could ever express. This natural order is called the way. The way is the eternal substrate of the cosmos. It guides the very current of time and space. The way is known by some as the will of God, divine providence, the Holy Spirit, the implicate order, the Tao, reverse entropy, life force. But for now, we'll simply call it the way. The way is reflected in you as the source of your inspiration, the source of your passions, your wisdom, your enthusiasm, your intuition, your spiritual fire, love. The way takes the chaos out of the universe and breathes life into it, giving it divine order. The way, when expressed by the mind, is genius. When perceived through the eyes, is beauty. When felt through the senses, is grace. When allowed into the heart, is love.
We are the crazy ones, the misfits, the round pegs in the square holes, the Matt Hubbards and the Reggie Golds, the crazy ones of this profession that believe that we can change the world, the crazy ones who think that we can have hundreds of people come into our offices, that we can put our hands on them and make a shift in their bodies and their lives to allow them to realign themselves to their spirit and the expression of life within them. We're the crazy ones. All of you in this room, chiropractors, chiropractors to be, CAs, spouses, children, we're all the crazy ones. And we know that. And we need to be proud of that. How many of you ever been to a seminar, heard a speaker, and you're there and all pumped up and all juiced up and you were touched, you were moved, you were inspired? Had it shift your life for those few moments in time and then go back into your life and nothing changes? Ever see that happen? No. Yeah. Why is that? When somebody says something or you see something or feel something or perceive something, you're in that space and you say, yes, I'm going to do that, I'm going to make a change, and then you go back into your life and nothing changes. It's like, it happens to me all the time. What is it about us? What blocks that growth? What keeps us from fully expressing the potential that's there inside of you? If I were to ask you, how many of you feel as though there's more of you that can be expressed than is being expressed right now? How many of you believe that? How many of you feel as though you are expressing the totality of the perfection of everything that you can be as a human being? Then you didn't all raise your hands the first time. Okay. How many of you feel as though there's a moreness of you that you could do, that you could express, that you're not? How many of you? Raise your hands if you believe that. Okay? What is it? What blocks you from doing it? How many of you know that there are things that you could be doing to make your life, your practice better, and you don't do it? Why? It's like a subluxation of the mind, isn't it? It's like an interference to the fullest expression of who you could be, not just here, but up here. So I sat with this for quite a bit, and I said, what is this? A number of years ago, my wife and I created a club. It's called the PB Club, or the Poor Bastard Club. And that's what the Boston had, Poor Bastard. Yeah? Yeah. And you all know somebody who's in the PB Club. I mean, ever have somebody call you up and say, oh, doctor, you know, I got my practice not doing good, and, you know, I'm having trouble not getting new patients. And you sit with them for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, a half hour, and you say, well, do this, this, and this, and this, and this. Oh, no, I tried that, didn't work. Well, try this, 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 and this, and this. I tried that, and it didn't work. Or you give them advice, you get off the phone, and 6 months later, they're exactly where they were. They didn't do a darn thing you told. You know what I'm talking about? Ever have a patient, practice member comes in, who's like one complaint after the next complaint, one crisis after the next crisis? You know what I'm talking about? We call it the PB Club. Okay? I know lots of them. Sometimes I'll admit that I've been in that club. So I really wanted to try to find a solution for that. So I'd like to start tonight by addressing the subluxations of the mind. Do I have your permission to do that? Yeah. Okay. 6 steps to doing this. First thing you need to do, I believe, is Peter's rules for life, is to be in gratitude. First step of unsubluxating yourself is to be totally and completely in gratitude for the gifts that you have, your health, your well-being, your family, your practice, all the joys that you have. I am in total gratitude to Matt and the core group for allowing me to come and do what I absolutely love to do. I love, if you couldn't get a sense of that, I love doing what I'm doing right now. Just to be here to share my heart and soul with people. One of the things, I have a practice in Massachusetts, which I'm totally grateful for. Family practice, wellness-oriented practice. 30% of the practice sees kids. We see lots of people. My wife and I practice together. She's part-time, I'm full-time right now. Just the two of us. We'll see 800 to 900 visits a week. That's in a full week when I'm there. Okay? It's chiropractic practice. That's all we do. We don't do any other therapies or treatments of any sort. Just adjust people. I have 2 children, 24 and 22. My son's a geek. Plug him in and he's happy. My daughter is, I'm not quite sure. The complete opposite of that, but an expression of creativity and wisdom. Each day is a new adventure with Catherine. As I said, it's a home office. Home offices are very commonplace in the Northeast, virtually non-existent on the West Coast. So when you walk in the front door of this building, you walk into my home, you go to the left side, it's my office, and you go straight ahead, which you can't because the door's usually locked, is my home. It's 5,800 square feet on 5.5 acres of land, so you get a picture of what it is. Up above it, there's lecture space. That's where we do our monthly meetings. We've been doing them for 27, 28 years, once a month. Actually, they haven't been there for 28 years, just since we built the house. About 18 years at that location, 18, 20 years. But prior to that, we were doing them once a month. So I'm in total gratitude for that. I also want you to be in gratitude for the things that are less than favorable in your life. Lots of times people get to hear me speak and say, oh man, yeah, wow, you got a great practice, great life. Boy, I wish I could be like you or have the... I know what it's like to have problems. And I'm not here to complain about problems, but use as a metaphor. I know what it's like to get audited by the Internal Revenue Service. One of them taking 3 years, where they looked through every single piece of paper for 3 years. And then subsequent to each of those, the Department of Revenue of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts came in and looked through those. They all turned out fine. But I know what it's like to go through that. I know what it's like to have a Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts audit. To walk into a room with 22 people sitting around a conference table, and for 8 hours going through every note, anything that I had done over the last 3 years, to 26 children that I took care of. You don't want to go there. It was one of the most challenging experiences of my life. And with hindsight, it was a great gift. One of the questions they said, Dr. Kevorkian? I said, yes. In looking through all of the records that we have here, I don't see any referrals to medical physicians. Well, that's an accurate statement. And he says, and all of these children, all those years you've taken care of, you never referred them to a medical doctor? I said, no. And you never requested their notes or anything like that? I said, no. And I said, why not? I said, well, I need to tell you, I've been in practice at this point, it was like 18 years. I said, I've been in practice 18 years. I've never once had a medical doctor request my records. Why should I have to request them from a medical doctor? They would look through the various things and they started badgering me and all these things. I said, can I put you guys all on pause? I said, let me explain to you what I do. And I did a health talk. And I realized after the fact that's why I was there, is to educate these people on what the unique service of chiropractic was. And they said, well, in all the records that you have here, you didn't end care. And I said, because they were subluxated. I said, you hand me a baby, you're a parent, you hand me a baby, you would say, check my baby for subluxation. If I check this baby for a subluxation and they're subluxated, and I don't correct that subluxation, that could be construed as malpractice. And I look right over at the attorney. Isn't that true? And he says, yes. I said, and by the terms of the contract I have with you, if I check that child, find a subluxation, and adjust that child, which is what I do by law, and if I didn't do it, would be construed as malpractice, if they are Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts provider, if I don't bill you, I'm in violation of my contract, am I not? And the attorney looked at me, he says, no, that's true. I said, so what did I do wrong? Totally changed the next 6 hours. They still had questions and all that. You get the idea? So I'm not telling, it was a challenge. I know what it's like to have a malpractice claim filed against me, and depositions and all that other stuff. It all turned out fine. I know what it's like to have my neighbor, the house that I was first practicing in, call the Westwood police, the town I practice in, because people were parked in front of her house. And I had to pay parking tickets so that they would continue to come into my practice. I know what it's like to have a practice member of mine who I opened my heart and soul to, my wife did. We took her in under our wings, took her to chiropractic seminars, she babysat our kids, filed a 13-page complaint to my licensing board, complaining of unprofessional conduct, improper billing, and sexual misconduct, all of which. 3 years and $26,000 later. I know what it's like to have the place that we were building our house, our home office where it is now, to have to go to a planning board meeting because we were going to have a home office and it was in a water resource district. We needed to get special permits. 55 of my abutters signing a petition they didn't want me to build a house. $25,000 later, legal fees, stuff, it all happened. So I know what it's like to have problems. Any one of those things would have crippled me, particularly the board complaint. But every one of them was a gift. Be in total gratitude for your gifts. They have you clarify where you are going in your life. They have you clarify who you are, how you show up. Many of those complaints that were there could have destroyed the relationship with my kids and my wife. In each case, it strengthened them, made me a better chiropractor, a better parent, a better husband, a better lover, a better friend. You guys with me? Be in total gratitude for everything you have in your life. You get up and there's a problem. Yes, thank you, Jesus, or whatever. Okay? Be in total gratitude and to sort of get into that space. Okay? Y'all willing to play? I want you to be in total gratitude. So everybody needs to stand up.
So many people in the world today are focused on what's missing in their life. When you focus on what's missing, you miss the many amazing things that are already there.
We have created the following gratitude dance to express our gratitude for the things that we already have in our lives. So when you wake up in the morning, number one, you're going to write a list of everything in your life that you are truly grateful for.
Good job. Good and bad. Good and bad.
Two, turn on this video.
And number three, do the gratitude dance.
Oh yeah, this is going to be awesome.
Okay, everybody, come on. Come on, everybody. Even back there, come on. Do your gratitude dance. Come on, keep going, keep going. Okay, give yourselves a big round of applause. Number 2 thing you need to do to unsubluxate your mind is to surrender. Surrender. To allow things and to let go. First step in surrendering is to let go. Parents. Any parents in the room? Raise your hands. Don't children teach you how to let go? I mean, that's what it's about, right? A woman giving birth has to let go of her body. Then you need to let go to let somebody else hold your baby. Then you need to let go to let somebody else watch your kid when you go out. Then you need to let go to let them go to school, et cetera, et cetera. You let go to let them get married. You with me? Letting go is process of life. Let go of your attachments. Your physical attachments, your emotional attachments. Let go. Step 1 in surrender is to let go. Step 2 is to allow. Step 1, to allow, to let go, it requires your ego. It's your conscious choice. It's you still being in control. Step 2 of surrender, to allow, is to completely surrender to spirit. Completely surrender to the plan. Completely surrender to the organization of our universe and recognition that everything is all part of that plan. How does a caterpillar become a butterfly? In order for a caterpillar to become a butterfly, it needs to allow the process to happen. To let go of those things that make it a caterpillar, to allow its fullest metamorphosis into a butterfly. What is there in your life that you need to let go of, that you need to allow, to fully express the brilliance and the radiance of who you are, of who you be? In our profession, we have many caterpillars. We have the American Caterpillar Association, the International Caterpillar Association, the Palmer College of Caterpillars. In our profession, when has any organization really given up who they were for the possibility of bringing our profession to the place that it rightly should be? See, we have many caterpillars in our lives. Your life, my life, our professional lives. Second step of unsubluxating the mind is to let go and surrender, to allow and surrender. Step 3, I need some help with this one. Could you help me out and hand out? Everybody needs a rubber band. You didn't know you were going to get presents tonight, did you? Could you hand one out to everybody? Yeah. Now, nobody needs to do anything that they really don't want to do, but I am going to ask you to do one thing, and that's to take the rubber band and put it around your dominant wrist. So if you're left-handed, your left wrist, you're right-handed, your right wrist. Yep. Oh. Everybody got a rubber band? We need more? How many more we need? Who needs a rubber band? Anybody else need one? Okay. Okay. One of the reasons why you need more?
Yeah.
How many more?
How many more? No, I think
No,
we got Anders.
You got one?
Where is it?
Are we going?
You got?
Yeah,
No?
okay. Yeah.
I need one.
Yeah, you need one in the okay, here. I got more. I came with plenty of rubber bands. We need more?
I guess one more.
Okay.
Everyone has one.
Okay. I'll autograph them afterwards if you need to, okay? Step number 3 in dealing with or unsubluxating the mind is to change something. Interrupt the pattern of behavior in your life. It doesn't matter what it is. Change anything. Just change something. Change where you sit for dinner. Change how you drive to work. Change the sequence of how you put on your clothes. Change how you make love with your wife or your husband. Change something in your life because the goal is to interrupt the pattern of behavior that's there. Bottom line, the biggest thing you want to change is how you talk to yourself. If I talked to you the way you probably talk to yourself, you would probably hate me. Oh, gee, I wish I was smarter. I wish I was a better adjuster. I wish I was taller. I wish this was small. I wish this was bigger. I wish my hair. I wish my that. Wait, are you with me? Okay. You are a beautiful being. God doesn't make no junk. So I want you to interrupt the pattern of thought patterns and self-talk that's there. And what I'm going to do to magnify that with you is I'm going to have you look. Yeah, I want you to all take the rubber band and stretch it out. You do not need to let go of it unless you choose to, okay? But let's stay in the chiropractic realm. This is a pattern interruptive device. I'm not smart enough. Subluxations aren't real. Kids don't need to be adjusted. Insurance won't pay for it. Okay, give me something else. I don't like my hair. This is too big. This is too small. Whatever it is. Okay, interrupt the pattern of behavior. You with me? Okay. I want you all to stretch out the rubber band. Feel it. Feel it. Embed this within your physiology. Okay, you all see it? Okay, watch, 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 watch. And then after you do that, give a positive intention command. I love myself. I'm a great chiropractor. I'm a phenomenal dad. I'm a healer. I'm a lover. I'm responsible. I care for myself. I care for my patient. You with me? You guys are laughing, but this is, in my opinion, the most important thing that I can share with you. If you could just shift how you talk to yourself, your level of deservingness for you, you will attract to yourself more joy, happiness, and riches than you can possibly imagine. So I want you to wrap this around your wrist. Just keep it there. You don't need, if you need to snap it, okay, if any time during my talk tonight you reach the edge of your consciousness or your comfort zone, just take the rubber band and snap it. Or just bring it to here and remember what it felt like. That is real, okay? I'm not any different than you, okay? It's a self-depreciating act I do to make you have a change in your life, okay? I just want you to make that shift. I want you to unsubluxate your mind. And this is the biggest obstacle that there is for your own growth. You even said it yourself. There's more of you that you want to express. Wear a rubber band. Change something. Fourth thing to do. Breathe. Everybody take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Deep breath in. Sigh. Breathing is the first thing we do when we come into this world. It'll be the last thing we do when we leave. All living things breathe. The process of respiration, of inspiration, inspire, in spirit, brings life to us. Conscious, intentional breathing will connect you to life. There's nothing that occurs in your life as a challenge, as a problem, as something that comes before you, that breath will not inspire you to move through it. Any healing, all transformation requires breath. Very often you'll find yourself holding your breath, breathing very shallow. Consciously, take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. To exhale means to trust, because you have to trust that there's going to be a breath coming after that. Your power, though, is in that trust. The power of your breath comes in the exhalation, in the process of surrender, in the process of allowing. In martial arts, the power is in the exhalation. In giving birth, the power is in the exhalation. Take a deep breath in. Let it out. Your power comes from your breath. Fifth step is to develop certainty. A clarity in your mind of certainty. And there are lots of different things that I'm going to do to try to create certainty within your life. One of them is to anchor you to our beautiful philosophy that is at the roots of our profession, which I'll do in a minute. But before we go there, I want to give you an exercise of developing certainty. Do I have your permission to do that? But I need you all to play. Everybody stand up. Now create in your mind something that you would like to see in the world, in your practice, in your personal life. Whatever it is, bring that to your thought process, okay? I don't want you to just say, that would be nice. What I want you to do is have that actually come into your mind as though it's going to become real, okay? Now, I want you to all close your eyes. Everybody participate. Put down your PDAs. Put down everything. Close your eyes. Stand there. Bring that thought to your mind. Think about the things and imagine something that you want, that you desire. And I want you to hold the space of hope. I hope it works out. I hope they sign up for care. I hope they schedule their multiple appointments. I hope they come to my marketing program. I hope they pay their bill. I hope he asks me out on a date. I hope she goes away with me. I hope my kids go to school. I hope they don't ask me about the stroke thing. I hope, whatever it is. Stand how you would when you hope. Breathe that way. Hold the facial expression in the space of hope. I hope I don't screw up. What does your body feel like? Now from that place, I want you to come to a place of uncertainty, a state of worry. Stand that way. Feel the difference between hope and uncertainty. What's different? Now, if you don't know what to do, just do it anyway. Play along with me, okay? Play along with me. Just do it anyway. Trust your instinct. Where would your arms be in a state of uncertainty? How would you breathe? What's your posture? When you're worried, when you're unsure, do you wobble? What do you picture in your mind when you're not sure? How does it feel to be unsure? Now go back to hope. Feel the difference? I know it sounds weird, but play anyway. If you don't know what to do, do it anyway. Now from this position, I want you to go to absolute certainty. No doubt in your mind that you can achieve whatever it is. Make yourself totally certain, as though it was actually happening. Expect it to happen. Don't question whatsoever. Stand in absolute certainty of whatever it is. Assume the physiology as though it's completely certain, with no question, no doubt in your mind. Breathe that way. Put that look in your face. Is there a gesture that you have when you're absolutely certain? Do that gesture. Create it. Add excitement to it. You know it's going to happen without any doubt in your mind. Feel it in your voice. Feel your body. Hold that posture. Do you feel a difference between certainty and uncertainty? Go back to uncertain. What happens to your shoulders, your breathing, your balance? What happens to your focus? Now go right back to certain, instantaneously. Hold that space. It's a physiology. It's a choice. Lock that feeling in. Totally anchor it into your physiology. What's different in your body? Uncertainty, usually the shoulders drop, you lean to one side, you're not connected to the earth. You see things not working out. You look at the things of the possibilities of what will go wrong. Hoping, you feel passive. Certainty, you feel like doing. You hold a different vibration. Create certainty now in an instant in your physiology. Choose to have it that way. Certainty does not make you successful, but attach it to skill. You can do almost anything. Many people have skill and no certainty and they never achieve. If you have enough emotional certainty, you will find the skills to achieve. Cultivate this. It's practical. Now, Peter, what happens if I invest myself emotionally and it doesn't happen? What if I crash and burn? Fear can keep you in a state of uncertainty. Choose one state or the other. You cannot serve both masters. Invest all your emotion, it might not work. You might be wrong. But what's worse? To invest, give everything, your heart and soul, and learn from it to make the future better, or not try at all and never employ the most powerful force of the human spirit. Everybody have a seat. You hold complete certainty when you give an adjustment. You hold complete certainty when you give a health talk. You hold complete certainty in everything you do in your office, talking to your team, your staff, training people, being at a seminar. Hold a state of complete certainty. You will transform yourself and the world. You will magnetize to yourself the things that need to happen in your life. Somebody's on the table and, hey, I'm not sure what to do here. I hope this works. Or do you want, oh man, what's this third dorsal talking to us here, man? Take a deep breath in, let it out, boom. We just turn the power back on. Which one do you want to be under? My hands. Step 1 or step 2? Oh, you want step 2. Hold that certainty in everything you do. As I said, one of the more stressful things in my life was dealing with Blue Cross Blue Shield, that audit thing. That I tell you, talk about getting beaten down. Talk about being in a state of hope, of fearfulness, of uncertainty. Before I walked in that room, I turned around, had a little talk with myself. Peter, you're going to do something. You're going to be there. You're going to invest yourself. You're going to hold the space for chiropractic. I made it bigger than me. I made it bigger than me. It wasn't about Peter Kevorkian anymore. It was about my profession. It was about saving the kids. It was about people being under chiropractic care. When I had to deal with my board issue, it didn't have to do about me losing my license. It had to do about truth, honesty, integrity. You with me? Make it be a bigger picture. It's not about the back pain. It's not about the headache. It's not about the symptoms. It's not about the complaint. It's not about the Can you all relate to this? Person comes in, talks to you that way? Yeah? It's not about that. It's about their life. It's about transforming their existence. It's about connecting them back to their own soul and their spirit. It's about letting life flow inside of them again. Reconnecting them to the breath that they took when they first came into this world, to allow that breath to come into their body. Isn't that what an adjustment does? Adjustment doesn't fix anything. It brings more breath into the body. So the body can breathe. All the parts of the body can expand and contract. So the body can dissipate and get rid of what it no longer needs and attract to it the right things that it needs properly. Whether that be physiologically, biomechanically, psycho-emotionally, who am I to say what that person needs? Our philosophy gives us a beautiful place of certainty. The certainty of saying that the universe is organized. Starting with a major premise that there exists in all matter an intelligence, a degree of organization, giving it its properties and characteristics, thus maintaining it in existence. To come from a place that everything that happens in this universe is there for a reason and a purpose. A person's symptomatology is there for a reason. Every ache or pain is there for a reason. Every dysfunction that exists in your life, their life, my life is there for a reason. The wars and the challenges that we have on a planetary level, the global ecology and the destruction of our environment is all here for a reason. And to allow us to become part of the healing of our planet by being in a greater degree of congruency. Take the frame and make it bigger. There's nothing that will give you a greater degree of certainty than that. Number 6, effort. Put forth the energy and effort of doing the things that you know you need to do. Back in February, I'm not a person that tends to weigh myself. Back in February, I stood in the scale. I added a few pounds. I looked down, my clothes were getting tighter and tighter. I looked down at the scale and it said 230. I stepped off and I stepped on again. I said, damn, 230. And at this point of 54 years old, I said, if I don't make a change in my life, that's where I'm going to be for the rest of my life. And so I needed to take the effort to make that change. Now, I know loads about diets and fads and HCG and MDH and SHIT and everything else, okay? But the bottom line is what I know. It's energy in, energy out. I hadn't been exercising, and I was not being conscious with what I was putting in my body. So I eliminated dairy and wheat, and I started exercising every day. And more than 20% of me is no longer here. You got to take the effort to do the thing that you want. You with me? You want to get new patients? You got to go out and ask for them. Go market. Tell the story. Do something, okay? You want to be better at your technique? Take your seminars. Have people watch you. Develop a critique. You want to be better at training staff to someone do what you need to. You with me? Do what you need. You need to do. I'd like to have six-pack abs and big biceps. I want to get that. I can go to seminars about it. I can meditate about it. I can read about it. I can hang around other people who got big abs and six-pack abs and big biceps. But if I don't go to the gym and I don't lift the weights and do the crunches, do I get the product? No. We live in an age where people feel entitled to things. Chiropractic students, you're probably the worst. Okay? I get to talk, I teach for the ICPA, I teach a course in PDI. Actually, I'm going to be, if you like this gig, you get 12 hours of this next month, for those of you in the ICPA program or if you want to come, okay? So that's the kind of thing that I love to do. But I go around to chiropractic colleges, lots of times there are chiropractic students in there, and I tell them, I said, I've never felt such a degree of entitlement. You think that you go to school, you're paid $150,000 or whatever, you graduate, you got a diploma, and you think people are going to flock to your office? Forget about it. I'm from the East Coast, I can say that. Forget about it, okay? You got to go work. You got to put the energy out to get the product that you want. I believe that with those 6 things, gratitude, surrender, changing something, breathing, certainty, and effort, that you can unsubluxate your mind. It's taking the mind and allowing it to transform internally. Some of you may need a cathartic experience. You can do that. But bottom line is, do that. Be in gratitude. Surrender. Allow the things to occur. Let go, then allow as you need to. Change something in your life. Snap your rubber band if you need to, if you're thinking bad thoughts. Develop your breath consciously. Develop certainty in what you are doing. That little exercise they get you. Hold the physiology of being certain. And lastly, put forth the effort. You playing with my lights? Setting the mood. We're going to dance?
No. The one's over our head.
Okay. Well, I'm going to turn them off in a second. Okay. You ready? Yeah. Okay.
Good night, Harvey.
Harvey? Don't worry about my office tonight. Okay, Harvey?
Are we up here tonight, Harvey? Why are we not for you tonight, Harvey?
Yes,
How long have you been deaf, Harvey?
over 17 years, Dr. Gigi.
How did it happen? What brought it on, Harvey? Do you know?
One day I was bending down, scrubbing with my brush, and I hear a popping noise in my neck. Then I turn around, and sound is gone. I don't hear it no more.
Did it hurt when you heard this noise in your neck? Does it still hurt? Let me take a look at that neck of yours. Why, Harvey, you've got a lump back here. Can I examine you closer? Does it hurt right there?
Yes. I guess I just never noticed it.
Is this where the popping sound came from?
Yes, sir.
Will you let me try to help you? Harvey? Harvey?
Doctor, I can hear again. I can hear again.
Are you sure?
Yes. Yes, I can hear again.
And that's the story as we've been told in terms of how the first chiropractic adjustment occurred. Isn't that true? Yeah. The actual true story of that, in Vern Gillo's book, Old Dad Chiro, Vern Gillo actually interviewed Harvey Lillard's granddaughter. Harvey had actually told her the actual occurrence of what had happened. One day, Harvey Lillard was in the hallway outside of D.D. Palmer's office in the Putnam building in Davenport, Iowa. And Harvey was out there and somebody was telling Harvey a joke. Harvey was the janitor in the building and somebody was telling Harvey a joke. Harvey could hear, but you had to talk really loud in front of his face so he could hear it. So D.D. was in his office. He heard the joke being told, comes out into the hallway, and when the guy told the punchline, Harvey Lillard was standing next to him. He was a back slapper. He slaps Harvey on the back, laughing, goes back into his office. About 20 minutes later, Harvey Lillard goes into D.D. Palmer's office. He says, Dr. D.D., ever since you hit me on the back, my ear's been ringing. That's what prompted him to question, what happened, how did it happen, yada, 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 yada. Checks his back, feels a lump in his back, racks the vertebra into place, and his hearing gets fully restored. Makes sense, doesn't it? Now, what do you think D.D. Palmer thought he did at that point? Yeah, I found the cure for deafness. So he puts out a shingle, I cure the deaf. Deaf people start coming to him, they don't all get their hearing back. But he sees other changes happening in their physiology. He's seeing people breathing better, colitis getting better, other health issues beginning to transform and change. And his understanding of the body, understanding of the physiology, understanding of healing, etc., he then surmised what was going on as the vertebrae were putting pressure upon the nerves, and chiropractic was born. He thought he found the cure of all disease, didn't he? D.D. Palmer gave us two gifts, though. He didn't just give us the adjustment as a gift. He also gave us a philosophy. He questioned, why did people get sick? It began to look at the cause of disorder and disease being inside the body. And from D.D. Palmer, our philosophy was born. D.D. Palmer was a vitalist. Vitalist theory or philosophy had its origins in the latter part of the 1800s. And it was coming together of two philosophical frameworks of thought. Mechanism, which viewed the world as a machine, a quantifiable machine, and spiritualism, saying that everything was the result of a deity or some God force that did everything. People would get sick and say, oh, why did God smite me with this? Okay? You with me? Versus somebody getting sick and say, oh, it's because a German bacteria made you sick. Okay? So one looked at one being a mechanistic cause, the other one looking at being a spiritual cause. Vitalism was a real coming together of that. You with me? So it's a philosophical train of thought that is just beginning today, over 100 years later, beginning to become a conscious way that people live their world. People writing about it, people talking about it. Not looking at it being purely mechanical, not looking purely being spiritual, but a real integration of that. D.D. Palmer was the first healthcare issue, started a whole profession based upon a vitalistic philosophy. The essence of that philosophy comes from a major premise that says that there is a universal intelligence in all matter, continually gives to it its properties and actions, thus maintaining an existence. Basically saying the universe is organized as an organizing force that holds everything together. That the same wisdom that holds the stars in the sky is the same wisdom that allows you to balance your checkbook. The same thing that lets the plants grow up and the roots grow down, it allows your body to know how to make the necessary immunoglobulins deal with infectious processes. Everything in our universe is organized, whether it's living or non-living, is there. I'm not going to give you a philosophy class, but I had the opportunity to talk to lots of groups lots of different times, so I've extracted from our philosophy what I call Kevorkian's postulates. And I'm going to go through these postulates, which is basically my rendition of how to make our philosophy become practical in its application in our daily lives. Do I have your permission to do that? You have a choice, you're here, so bear with me. First postulate is the universe is organized, whether it's quantifiable or not. So whether you can measure it or quantify it, we make the assumption that the universe is organized and there's a reason for everything. Matter of fact, that's number two. There's a reason for everything, and everything is somehow connected. Whether we know it or not, everything is connected. I'll give you a couple of examples. How is it that a woman can see her child being injured by a car, gain the strength to lift the car off of her child when she really doesn't have the strength to do that? What's that? But there's adrenaline in her body prior to that. It's just what the body does. It's like we can't fully quantify it, but it's still something that we witness, right? Women in the room, how many of you get your period, monthly period? Yes? Your menstrual cycle, right? How many of you, when you... Well, men get it twice a month. Isn't that true? Yes. My wife thinks 4 times a month, okay? How many of you have ever experienced this? You're on your monthly cycle, and you move in with another woman who's also on her monthly cycle, then they're different, but then after you're living together for a while, you both have the same cycle. How'd they do that? Why'd they do that? Have you ever heard of a story of somebody, a mother knowing something's happened to one of her kids, even though the kids are nowhere near them? Yeah. Have you ever heard of this bizarre ritual we have on our planet? It's called fire walking. People taking off their shoes, building a big bonfire, and then walking across hot coals. It's actually one of the oldest rituals on our planet. I've done hundreds of them. I've seen people lie on the coals. I've seen people pick up the coals in their hands, rub them together. I've seen people dance across the fire, not one burn. How'd they do that? Lots of things we don't know. As a matter of fact, that's principle number 3. No matter how much you know, there's more that you don't know. In the scheme of the universe, if God could write an encyclopedia of 24 volumes and put in those 24 volumes the entire human experience here on planet Earth, today, what we know we don't know, we couldn't finish the first paragraph of the first chapter of the first volume of the first book. That's how little we know to how much we know we don't know. There's even more that we don't know that we don't know. Do you know what I mean? Okay? So no matter how much you know, there's more that you don't know. You can't base what you do purely upon facts. That it needs to come from a philosophical perception, from an epistemology, from a belief structure that you're making a choice on. You can make the choice to say that the universe is organized and things are happening for a reason, or you can make the choice to say the universe isn't organized and it's totally haphazard and random. Or it may be something in the middle. By saying the universe is organized, it gives me a framework in communication, gives me a framework of trust. It allows me to have a complete level of certainty and allows patients, my practice members, also have that same certainty. Does that make sense? So be clear in your epistemology. Knowledge is like a circle. If you look at what you know as what's inside your circle, what you don't know is outside your circle. You with me? The perimeter of the circle is your awareness of the unknown. Yes? As you grow in your knowledge, your perimeter grows. You become more aware of what you don't know. You with me? Now there are people, ever been around somebody who's got a real big circle? Real small, really, really smart people. And they let you know that their circles are really big. My circle's bigger than your circle. You with me? These are the people who are looking on the inside. Hell, if they were looking on the outside, they'd know how stupid they really are. Because the problem is they attach their ego to it. Don't be attached to what you know. Be conscious and recognizing, yes, grow your knowledge base. I'm not anti-knowledge and anti-science whatsoever. Grow your wisdom of knowledge, but continue to look outside your circle to realize there's even more discovery, more to be uncovered, more to experience in our world than just what's inside your circle. The day that I start looking only on the inside of my circle is the day that I begin to die. And that's what very often happens as people age, is they stop looking on the outside of the circle. Isn't that true? So I'm asking you as chiropractors, as a clinician, as people who are about ready to transform the planet, keep looking on the outside of your circle. Recognize that it fits within the scheme of an organization that knows how to hold the universe together. There is a difference between a living thing, thing, and a non-living, inorganic thing. There is a difference in that living things can recreate themselves. Living things can assimilate, expand, and contract. They breathe. The bottom line is, if I had a sledgehammer and I slammed it against this table, I took the same, what's your name? Katrina. I took the same sledgehammer and slammed it against her, two very different things would occur. Number one, the table isn't going to say ouch and beat me up. Katrina would, okay? The table would break into thousands of pieces. She would get severely bruised. Come back a day from now. That bruise is starting to heal. Table's going to look the same. Come back in a week, pretty much going to be healed. Barely going to see the bruise, might be sensitive to touch. Table's going to look the same. A month from now, barely going to tell that I hit her with a sledgehammer. Table's going to look the same. A year from now, it'll be a bad memory. Table's going to look the same. You with me? Our body is alive, can recreate itself. The biggest gift that we are given is this force of life. This vital life energy knows how to heal, recreate, reassemble the body as it needs to. It knows how to make new cells. Matter of fact, your body's continually regenerating itself. Within every 3 years, every cell in your body is different than it was 3 years before. You know, we spend so much energy, so much time in our world trying to fix 6 cells. But yet within a few months or a few years, those 6 cells are going to die. Let's focus on the cells that are going to be replacing those cells. If the new cells that are coming in are sick and dying like the old ones, if those patterns are maintained within the physiology, within the neuroskeleton, within the biochemistry of the body, then you're going to continue to have a sick body. But if the new cells can come in, can recreate themselves because it is alive, it is creative, it doesn't need to fall into the fixed patterns, that's what can create a healthier life, a better adaptive body. Does that make sense? The last principle, and actually the most important one, is the well-being of every system is dependent upon clear communication. Every system. Well, we look at that within the body. Enhance the communication system of the nervous system, the body functions better. But everything works better with better communication. With your spouse, your kids, good communication. Matt and I were talking before. What was the thing I said? Some issue of communication. Okay? Within countries, workplace, any problem, any challenge is there. It's a problem in communication, isn't it? The only reason why you have wars is ultimately an issue of communication. Communication is the universal solvent. The universal solvent. It will solve all issues when there's clear communication. If people are all using the same language, same grounding, same bit of reality, we can all work together in communication. The essence of our philosophy lives in that space. D.D. Palmer, in his book, inscribed it as chiropractic is founded on tone. And I believe that is as true today as it was in the late 1800s when he wrote The Chiropractor's Adjuster. Actually, 1910 is when he wrote The Chiropractor's Adjuster. His only book that he ever published. Chiropractic was founded on tone, and I'd like to spend a little bit of time on that. I'm going to push some of you with what we're going to talk about. First, let's talk about the tone of the nerve system. The nerve system is that system, the neuroskeleton, what we deal with as chiropractors. This system is a magical, adaptive mechanism. We are a nerve system more than we are anything else. It reacts, responds to everything else. Everything happens because of the nervous system. Somehow in this system, the physical and the non-physical aspects of self merge. If I said describe the biochemistry of a muscle contraction, some of you could do that. Describe the Krebs cycle, you could do that. Respiration, you could do that. Spinal movement, you could do that. Those are all physical phenomena that are under the regulation of the nerve system. But I said, describe for me what happens in a state of love. Describe for me what happens in the physiology in a state of anger. Describe for me what happens in the state of revenge. Those non-physical things take physical manifestation because of our nervous system, isn't it? Everything that happens within our life experience happens and is embedded within the nerve system. Consciously or unconsciously, consciously or subconsciously, everything becomes embedded within the physiology. Everything is remembered in that nerve system and doesn't ever forget it. There are neural programs that are there. Well, I'm going to propose to you that when a person is subjected to a trauma that the body cannot fully integrate, cannot fully understand, that traumatic experience is looked at by the nerve system. I don't know what the heck's going on. So it holds that within the neuroskeleton. That trauma gets stored within the body. We call it a subluxation, biomechanical disturbances. We might see it as straining and spraining of muscles and ligaments, okay, that are there. But basically, the nervous system has taken a snapshot of that process, awaiting the possibility of fully understanding that experience. When you're going to give somebody an adjustment, the goal is not to fix anything. The goal isn't to get rid of anything. The goal is to provide a force into that system so the nervous system can say, oh, that's what that was all about. It allows the nervous system to begin to dissipate and unwind what it no longer needs. So rather than looking at it as something of fixing, of curing, of repositioning, of treating, what we're going to look at is the nervous system is indeed altered in its tone as a result of a trauma that it couldn't fully understand. And what we're looking at is a very specific application of force into that system to allow the system to become more free, more flexible, more expansive, more respiratory, ability to breathe more. You with me? That our goal of an adjustment is not to have people feel good, but to have people better feel, better experience, better sense. That when the nerve system is able to perceive its world better, it's going to know what to do inherently. It's programmed for that. So all of your life experiences are embedded within this system. Our only job is to put forces into the system to allow the system more flexibility and adaptability in its environment and its world. So each experience it looks at is able to fully integrate and understand and doesn't need to clam up and jam up even more. Does this make sense to you? Who said no? Okay, good. Next aspect, or another aspect of tone, is a property of resonance. A property of resonance is a physical principle of tonality. That's something that oscillates at a particular frequency. When it's in the environment of something else that can oscillate at that frequency, it will do so. If I had two violins, I put them down here, and I took and I plucked the E string on one of the violins, so you could hear the E string of the violin. And then I came over and I put my hand on it so it no longer was vibrating. You would hear the E string of the other violin vibrating. Isn't that true? Any musicians in the room? Okay. Principle of resonance, something that was oscillating a particular frequency, when it's in the environment, something else that can oscillate at that frequency, it will do so, even if it's not touched by the human hand or another instrument, because that vibration is in the space. You with me? Well, what the hell does that have to do with anything? Well, watch. Have you ever been around somebody, another person, and when you're around that person, you really like who you are? It's like, yeah, they make you feel big, they make you feel good. Yes? They vibrate at a particular frequency that meets up with your physiology. You vibrate at the same frequency. You like who you are. Yes, you got it? Ever been around somebody, when you're around that person, you feel like dirt? That lives inside you too. They vibrate in a particular way, trigger something inside of you. You see what that is. You see, you can't see something in somebody else that doesn't live inside of you. That's a challenge for some of you. But I'm a good person. Yes, you are. But all that person is a mirror for you to look back at who you are so you can love yourself more. So you can see those things that need to be healed in your life. You can see those things that need to be interrupted in your life. See, every single person that's there, whether they make you feel good or not, teaches you a little bit about you. When you hold space within your office, you give off a resonance. And I'm saying make that resonance be one of certainty. Allow your resonance to be one of health. Allow your resonance to be one of possibility. Allow your resonance to hold a space of success, of potentiality greater than that person experiences, of joy, of bliss, of ecstasy. Because as you vibrate in that space, people feel that. You all in this room right now are impacted by my tone that I'm creating in this space. Okay? You all will be touched by that, and I want you to carry that into your practice and give it to your patients, your practice members. Am I making sense to you? You hold that same vibration in your space. We are living, breathing organisms that as a principle of resonance can make that shift. We can hold the space through our intentionality. Next principle of tone is to hold a space of ease. if you're willing to believe me when I tell you that an adjustment isn't there to fix, cure, or treat anything, but the goal of an adjustment is to complete a learning process within the nervous system, to fully integrate and understand the experiences that it's had in its lifetime, then an adjustment, all adjustments, should be given with ease. Why? Well, because ever learn when you're under distress? When you're in a state of survival, you cannot learn anything. If right now you got a text from your spouse saying our 18-year-old was in a motor vehicle accident, they're in the hospital, I don't care what I'm talking about. Your attention elsewhere. You're going to be in a pure survival, raw, get out of here and go. You with me? Okay? If all of a sudden alarms started going off in this building that there was a fire and you're in survival for your life, okay, you cannot learn anything. You want to save your life. You with me? Anytime the body's in a state of survival, it cannot learn anything. So if we look at that in the nervous system, ever go up to somebody and you push in the dorsal spine, the legs are popping up like that? Yeah? That's a nervous system that's in survival. There's so much adverse tension in the spinal cord, you try to go in there, it's like hitting a rock, right? So what do? We go heavier, boom! Why? There's already enough force that's stored in that system. You with me? It's not looking for a heavier force. It doesn't want you to move bones. It doesn't need more energy. It needs less energy. It needs a place to dissipate that energy. Adjustment should be given with ease. Ever go up to do a modified rotary brake to somebody, and just as you go up to it, it's like, yeah, I don't think it's going to move. Okay? But yet our ego's now attached to it. You know, I'm in that position. They know that. So you try to be a little bit quicker, a little bit faster. Yeah, you move the bone. Yeah, I might even feel better afterwards. But I'm going to propose to you, you knew intuitively that force was not supposed to go in that way. I don't care what your x-ray listing shows. I don't care what your palpatory skills show. Your intuition said, no, not right now. Listen to your intuition. Every adjustment should be given with ease, particularly in a pediatric spine. And that's the kind of gig that we talk about in my seminars, how to get there. Next aspect of the nervous system is one of intention. Intention is conscious, focused attention. I'm going to ask you, hold an intention that you want within your life, within your practice. What space do you want me to be in if I was going to adjust you? You want me to be thinking about insurance reimbursement, whether you're paying your bill, whether you're going to sue me or not? Oh. Or do you want me to look at you as like you're the most greatest gift that I could possibly have to be in service to you, to open my heart and soul and use my hands to be able to allow you to get reconnected to the wisdom of the universe? You want the latter, don't you? If I told you that after I was done speaking today, you could get an adjustment by one of two people, and these two people both had extreme clinical competency, whatever you believe is the finest clinical technique protocol that exists, they both had it. One had the name Mother Teresa, the other one had the name Adolf Hitler. Who would you want adjusting you? Mother Teresa. Because you know the intentional driving force of a Mother Teresa is very different than that of an Adolf Hitler. I propose to you that your intention that you bring into a space holds a particular type of resonance, will attract to you the same thing that you're putting out. Put out love, you will get love. Put out lack, you will get lack. Put out joy, you will get joy. Put out fear, you will get fear. Whatever you put out is what you're going to get back. That's just the essence of the universe, because that's the vibrational aspect that you're going to be coming out into the world with. I'm going to propose to you that if you're thinking about subluxations, you will get subluxations. I'm going to propose to you that your thoughts need to move into ease, into freedom, into reconnection, and to look at what's going right in the body, and to put forces into the system to create more rightness than to fix a wrongness. Some of you heard that.
See, now that's great. Your life makes sense to you.
You doing okay?
That's so funny.
Huh?
I'm tweeting about it. Shit. My wife basically told me she doesn't want me around. I'm just saying.
How old are you? 38.
39.
Yeah. You all come up here about the same age, same problems. You spend about 50 weeks a year getting knots in your rope, and then you think 2 weeks up here is on time for you. None of you get it. Do you know what the secret of life is?
No, what?
This.
Your finger?
One thing. Just one thing.
Can you give me 2 chairs?
You stick to that and everything else don't mean shit.
That's great, but what's the one thing?
That's what you gotta figure out.
We very often as chiropractors think that the answer to the success or to create success in our lives comes from by doing moreness. And I'm going to propose to you that what you need to do is have clarity of the boundaries of who you are and what you're not. I know more nutrition than 99% of my practice. I probably know more nutrition than some nutritionists I know. I don't do any nutritional consulting in my office. I probably know more about exercise physiology and spinal biomechanics and spinal kinesiology and motion. I was an engineer before I was a chiropractor. I don't do any kind of physical therapy or any type of exercise therapy in my practice. I've done more personal growth seminars than 90% of my practice, probably 98% of my practice. I don't do any kind of emotional, spiritual counseling in my practice. Now, I'm not telling you to do it or not to do it. I do one thing in my practice. Actually, I do two things. I love people and I adjust people. I do that better than anybody. I have a naturopath that does nutritional stuff for me. I have physical therapists or occupational therapists that I'll send people to for consultations. I have childbirth educators, all within an arm's length of my practice. You're in California, you got everything here. Okay? The clearer I am by what it is that I do, that's all that I do. People know that they can come here for that. They know that they can ask me a question and that I'll help them through questions uncover and discover the next place they need to be in their lives. Because who am I to say? I will tell you, I've seen loads and loads of people who all I do is adjust them, who then come to me and say, do you think I should be doing some exercise? Well, if you're asking me that question, you're probably thinking that you need more movement in your life. What do you like to do? And then we work together, and then they start going off to do the exercise thing, whether it be a yoga class or go to a gym or take a Pilates class or whatever they feel as though they need to do. Is there any particular kind of diet you think I should? Well, if you're asking me a question about your diet, then there's probably something that you think you should be doing differently or better in your diet. You with me? What do you think? I ask most people, what do you think you could do better to clean up your diet? Most people know. I said, do it! Bottom line, body doesn't need crap. Okay? The less crap you put in, the healthier your body's going to be. You with me? So that's just a place. I'm not telling you, please, I'm not here to judge you. I do not judge people. I try not to even judge myself, okay? But I will tell you, if you are doing other things in your practice, just draw your boundary. Just, okay, Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, do my adjusting thing. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'll do nutritional counseling or whatever. You with me? Just create the barrier and the boundaries of what it is, because chiropractic is the location correction of spinal subluxations to allow life to be better inside that being. That's what it is. In the process of defining your one thing, hello? You did that already. There we go. A family wellness practice, which is the kind of practice that I tend to have. As I said, 30% of my practice is kids. 68% of my practice is committed to long-term care. And I say that 60, actually probably about closer to 70% of my practice is on what I consider my wellness plan. It's after their first year of care. They pay for it annually. It's an annual plan that allows themselves or their families to come in for all necessary care. I like checking people once a week. I say once a week because I like getting checked once a week. That's how often I want my family and my kids to get checked once a week. So it's a plan that allows them to do that. So about 70% of my practice is under what I consider wellness-oriented lifetime care. Families, kids, that's what it is. The other 30% are people who are in their first year of care. Well, obviously, people who are in first year of care are coming in 3 times a week, twice a week. That's why that's 30. You guys with me? Okay. To create a wellness-oriented practice, you need to put a lot of pieces together. We don't have time in a couple hours for me to go through all of them. But there's you got to look at your procedure, your forms, the office environment that's congruent with that, patient education, which we're going to talk about in a minute, wellness care, creating a consciousness of trying to build wellness rather than treat disease, having financial systems that work. Okay, wellness care doesn't live in the insurance system. Insurance is very short-term based, allopathically oriented care. Insurance companies don't pay for chiropractic care. You know that, right? They pay chiropractors for medical care. Insurance pays chiropractors for medical care. So if you are collecting insurance, realize, yes, you're a chiropractor, you're practicing chiropractic, but it's under a medical model of short-term care to treat a condition. It works that way. About 10% of my practice right now has that kind of financial exchange. Dialoguing properly, marketing, allied providers. One thing I want to talk about that I think we have time for, that I'd like to sort of give you an idea of how I introduce somebody into care, how my wife and I do that. So can I do that? Can I role play that with somebody? Okay. Okay. I want somebody to be a new patient. Come on. Okay. one rule, you can't be a belligerent patient. No, I don't want you difficult. Because 99% of patients are not difficult. Okay. So what's your name?
Keith.
Keith. Thank you, Keith. Okay. Keith is going to be a new person coming into my practice. Okay. He's filled out his history form. History forms say, reason for consulting this office. Okay. It doesn't say chief complaint. I've tried to make my forms congruent. I open the possibility for it to be anything, right? Reason for consulting the office could be interested, could be optimizing my human potential, could be headaches, okay, could be whatever. So I've read that over, okay? I'll walk in, I ask 2 questions. My 2 questions are going to be, what brings you here, and what are your expectations? My goal, my objective in the process of the consultation is for him to give me permission to check his spine for vertebral subluxations, and just that, and whether it's connected to his condition or not. You with me? I'm not going to deceive him, manipulate him, no pun intended, in any way, but it's to educate him and build an educational process there. I just spaced out. What's your name? Keith. Hi, Keith. Hi, Keith. I'm Dr. Peter. Welcome to our practice. I see that Mary Jo referred you. I got to tell you something. Mary Jo's an awesome lady. She's been coming in for years. And we have a rule in our practice. Okay. You can only refer nice people. So you must be a nice person, Keith, otherwise you wouldn't be here. So I have 2 questions, Keith. Yes. What brings you here, and what are your expectations?
I heard you were a good chiropractor, and I'd like to live a healthier life.
Okay, this is awesome. How many of you get a new person that comes in that says that? Yeah. Well, yeah. But could we be more traditional for the audience? Okay, there you go.
My lower back is fucking killing me, and I have pain shooting down my right leg when I bend over during the day.
And your expectation?
Can you take this fucking pain away? It's driving me crazy.
Okay. I know what you would like me to do is to push on your body and make the pain go away. Mm-hmm. I can't do that. Okay? There's no, actually, the honest to God's truth, if what you want to do is just have the pain go away, you take drugs.
Well, I'd like more than that.
Why?
Because I want to live a healthier life. I want to be able to help.
But you said that all you want to do is have the pain go away.
Oh, sorry, I'm going back and forth. I'm sorry. I just want the pain out of my leg and my.
And I just told you, take drugs so you don't feel it.
Yeah, but I tried that.
And?
I can't work like that. I'm like spaced out and fucked up, and people ask me questions.
So the drugs make an effect that you don't want.
I don't like it.
And do you think the drugs are changing anything in your body, or is it just blocking it so you don't sense that that's there?
I have a feeling it's messing with this.
Yeah, it's right. So it's not really getting to what is the root of that issue. Isn't that true? Yeah. Okay, Keith, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know. I honestly do not know if what I'm going to do is going to take your pain away. But what I can do is offer you something so your body starts working better, hopefully to figure out why that may be happening.
But you're going to examine.
Well, what I'm going to do is I want to explain to you what I do, see if it makes sense to you, and see if you want me to do that for you. Okay. Does that work?
I'm ready.
Okay. Keith, if I were to ask you, what controls everything that happens inside of your body, what would you say?
The brain.
The brain. Sometimes somebody will say, just the other day, somebody said their heart. Okay? Okay? So in a situation like that, what I'll usually say, the heart's a really important organ. It pumps the blood into the body, but it really doesn't control things. There's another organ that controls things, that even controls the heart, which is the brain. Okay? So your brain is like a computer. It sits inside your head, and it controls everything else that happens inside of you. Okay? Just like you're nodding your head back and forth, your brain is hearing sounds come in your ears. It interprets that as words that you understand. And to complete the cycle of communication, your brain sends signals to the muscle in the back of your neck, contracting and relaxing them to complete that cycle of communication. You never think about that, but your brain is controlling that function right now. You with me?
Absolutely.
Your brain is controlling how to digest the food that you ate today, to deal with the environment, to have your heart beat, your liver work. All the parts of your body controlled by the brain. How does the brain connect to the rest of the body?
Through the extension cord.
Very good. Through extension of the spine, and comes down into the body and branches in the body through all your nerves. Wiggle your finger. That happens because your brain's sending energy down the nerves to the muscles of your finger, causing them to wiggle. And the brain there's also information that comes from the finger back up to the brain. That's how everything works. Now, Keith, let's say I had a needle in my hand and I jabbed you in the leg. What would happen?
I probably wouldn't come back anymore.
But why wouldn't you come back anymore?
Well, because it hurt.
It hurt. Why would you feel the pain?
Because because my nervous system is working.
That's right. I poke you there, a nerve signal comes into your spine, up to your brain, split second, even if you didn't see me do it. Your brain would then look down, see what happened, push me away, scream, run out of the building, say he's a crazy man. Okay? All happens in a split second because nerves send information up to your brain. Where that nerve signal passes into your spine, over the nerve, it passes between two vertebrae, one above it and one below it. Let's say for a moment those vertebrae were out of place and putting pressure on the nerve. Do you think more information or less information would come up to the brain?
I'm not quite sure.
Let's use logic. If it's conveying information, sort of like water, okay, and it's passing between two vertebrae and it's crimping that, would more or less be able to flow up to the brain?
Either or.
And just don't give me an answer that you think, okay? Okay? Use purely logic on what we've talked about today.
I'm trying to figure out if you want me to play along or not.
Yeah, I want you to do exactly what a patient would do. Don't be a chiropractor. Say it would hurt.
Slow that signal down.
It would slow the signal down.
And produce less.
Less signal. In this case, the signal is carrying what?
Information.
What is the information that this signal is carrying?
Pain.
So if you misalign the vertebrae, you're going to have less
Painful information.
Less pain, right? Now, most people think that when vertebrae move out of place in the spine, it creates pain. And what I'm trying to have you understand through logic, that very often when vertebrae move out of place, put pressure on nerves, it reduces sensations coming up to the brain, reduces information to the brain, and that information may be pain.
Okay.
You with me?
Absolutely.
Okay. Next question is, what's creating my pain? The pain could be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 layers of adaptation beyond that. The straining and spraining of muscles, ligaments, trying to hold that area, splint the area. I just need you to understand that when vertebrae misalign, it's reducing information up to the brain or reducing information from the brain to the body. Okay? One of the things that's really important for me to have you understand is that I cannot use pain to tell me where a problem is. Because very often where the problem originates is where there's less pain. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely.
Okay? Sort of like if I step in a dog's tail, where does the sound come out? At the other end, right? Okay. So I don't know what's creating your pain. I do know that when there are misalignments, it's cutting off information to the brain. And in this scenario, okay, if there was enough misalignment cutting off that awareness of pain, would you be able to respond appropriately?
Maybe not.
Probably not. Cutting off enough pain sensation that's there. So is that a right response, even though there's no pain? No. No. And in the same scenario, if I took and I realigned the vertebra, you would have more pain, wouldn't you?
Actually.
Is that wrong? It's appropriate. Okay? I can tell you that what I'm going to do is evaluate your spine, if you want me to make sure that the vertebrae are properly aligned and moving properly to allow the appropriate information to come up to the brain and allow the brain to appropriately control your body. Does that make sense to you?
I like it.
Is that something you want me to do?
Absolutely.
Okay. You get what I just did? Okay? I'm getting him to recognize that a misalignment is not connected to his pain. That a misalignment is connected to interrupting communication that's there. So that 3 weeks from now, when he comes in and he said, Doctor, my pain's still here. I said, I'm here to make sure your brain's getting the necessary information that it needs. But more importantly, what's more likely going to happen, Doctor, my pain went away. I said, don't thank me, thank your body. What I did is made sure the brain was getting the appropriate information. Your body made the choice to take the pain away. Because the genius in the healing is that. You with me? Yeah. Question about what I did? Did I lie to him? Deceive him? Manipulate him in any way? Okay. Now, for the sake of this experience, I'm going to take it one layer deeper. Okay. What do you think might cause misalignments like that?
I have no idea.
Think about it. What do you think could move a vertebra into a place that will put pressure on the nerves?
Like lifting something heavy.
Lifting something heavy could do it. Sport could do that. Absolutely. Anytime the body's subjected to a force that the body can't fully adapt to, it could jam and lock vertebrae and put pressure on nerves that way. And you don't even feel it happening. As I said, very often when those vertebrae move out of place, there's absolutely no sensation of pain or sensation whatsoever because it's numbing your body. It's making you less conscious and aware of your body. And I'm going to tell you, the worst subluxations, some of the worst ones that occur, happen while we're growing, happen right at birth. That's why, Keith, when you're here, you're going to see lots of kids in the office. Okay? Because people begin to understand, as you're beginning to understand, that these misalignments have their origins at birth. And let me ask you, would you rather have it corrected as soon as it occurs or after it's been there weeks, months, and years and your body's had to try to adapt to it?
As soon as possible.
As soon as possible. That's why many parents choose to bring in their children to do it. You ready to get checked?
Absolutely.
And the whole exam at that point on is going to be focused on spinal misalignments, where he can feel asymmetry, where he can feel a restriction, a jamming. You with me? So he actually becomes aware of the imbalances that exist in his body. Thank you very much. Big round of applause for Keith. Is that helpful? Yes? No? I got blank look. He was a little bit freaked out with it. Okay? He's like, where's he going with this? What answer does he want? Okay? Most of the time people get exactly what it is. And they want to say, well, when the bone's out of place, it creates more pain. Don't give me the answer you think is right. Based purely on logic, light bulbs go off in people's minds. See it. Then I'll very often say, if I check you today and I check your spine, I find 5 misaligned areas of your spine. And one of them, and I'd say I can't do this, but let's say one of them is connected to the pain you're feeling, and the other 4 got nothing to do with it. Would you want me to just correct that one or all 5? They don't want all 5 corrected. As in, if 3 weeks from now, we've corrected those misalignments and things are better, more flexible, body's working better, and your pain hasn't changed one bit, do you want me to go back and take all the fixing we did and undo it? No. I want them to know that there's a benefit in what we're doing independent of whether the symptom goes away or not. Does that make sense to you? Okay. We doing all right? Yeah. Okay.
Taking notes, baby.
Okay, that's a good thing. Yeah, we'll do this now.
It's amazing. My headache is completely gone. What are those pills called? Hexadrin. Oh, I love you, Hexadrin. Oh, look, it comes with a story. Maybe they're like the side effects and stuff. Say what? You know, the possible side effects. Oh my God. Dizziness, nervousness, drowsiness, facial swelling, nausea, headache, vomiting, stomach bleeding, liver damage. Now, okay, I don't recall any of this coming up when you gave me these little death capsules. Oh, I'm sorry. Extra strength death capsules.
Hey, relax. None of that stuff ever happens. They just put it on there for legal reasons.
Why?
In case it happens.
We live in a bizarre world. We give people chemicals to treat conditions that the chemicals themselves cause. How logical is that? I have a patient who's a medical doctor, a radiologist. He's been coming in. He actually started care like January, February. He's a skier. And it was around March time. He comes in. He was doing some spring skiing. And he comes in and he says, Peter, I got to tell you, I went skiing this past weekend. I didn't have any pain. I was flying down the mountain. I'm skiing like I was back in my 20s. I think he's like in his late 50s, early 60s now. I said, that's awesome, Phil. That's great. He says, this stuff is really weird. I said, what do you mean? He says, I still don't get it. I said, what do you mean you don't get it? He says, I don't get the fact. I mean, you push on my back and the pain goes away. I said, wait a second. I know you understand what this is a medical doctor, right? You understand what I do is I'm making sure that your spine is in proper motion alignment, making sure there's no pressure on the nervous system, your brain has the necessary information so it can properly control your body. Doesn't that make sense to you? He says, yeah. I said, you on the other side live in a profession where somebody comes to you and they got pain here and you give them a chemical that they put in here and it's supposed to take that pain away. To me, that's magic. And he looked at me and says, I never quite looked at it that way. I said, you're putting a drug into the entire body, poisoning the entire body to try take something away here. I said, I'm actually taking and improving your structure. He says, this is food for thought. And he walks out of the office. Oh, so ingrained and entrenched in it. He still comes in. There is nothing.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Just because you sat me
Yeah.
there. I had a medical doctor who started treatment for chiropractic
Thank you.
adjusting about 3 weeks ago. And the guy continually, every time he comes in, that's what he says to me. He goes, I don't understand how this works, but man, do I feel so freaking good. The guy's almost 70, he's been practicing medicine his whole entire life. And he repeats that. I'm like, listen, every time I go back, he's like, yeah, just keep adjusting. He doesn't want to hear it, but
Hence, it doesn't matter how. Newer practitioners do this all the time. Patients want research. Patients don't want research. You got freaking medical doctors, who lived inside the body, who do and you use the logic and understanding, give them the science. They don't get it. They still make their decisions emotionally and based on what their senses are. Let's say for a moment that you knew that you couldn't be a chiropractor anymore. You couldn't, for whatever reason, practice chiropractic. How many of you would continue to get chiropractic care for yourself and your families? Raise your hand. Okay, now I'm going to tell you a big secret. Really, listen carefully. You're not that much smarter than your practice members. No, you need to listen carefully. You're not that much smarter than your practice members. You're not that much smarter than your practice members and your patients. I needed to whisper so you're really hearing what I'm saying. If patients knew what you knew, they would do what you do. If people knew what you knew, they would do what you do. Tell the story. Tell it again, and you tell it again. Most of you in this room, how many of you are practicing chiropractors? Raise your hands. You went to chiropractors probably before you went to school, spent 3-4 years in school, have been in practice for however many months or years you've been in practice, been doing multitudes of seminars, and you'll still come out on an evening like this so you can get more educated. Yes? We expect our patients, our practice members, after a 20-minute consultation and one healthcare class, that they're going to get the big idea. Okay? Tell the story, and after you tell the story, you tell it again. After you told it again, you tell it again. And even if they're stupid, you keep telling it again. And don't get frustrated. Just keep telling the story, because that's what it's about. Tell them the truth. Tell them your truth. Why you make your decisions. You know, what you would do. Well, why should I come in once a week? I said, I can give you research. I can give you facts. I can explain to you all that stuff. But the bottom line is, I want my spine checked every week. I want my kid's spine checked every week. I want to be able to offer that to you. If that's not what you choose to do, cool, no problem. Come in however often you want to. This is after their initial intensive care. You can come in, you can manage your care as you want to. But our plan makes it very affordable for you to be able to receive weekly care twice a week if you need to. I said, and it doesn't cost you anything. It's like a membership to a club. So most people get that. In patient education, everything should be educational. From how the office looks, how it sounds, literature you have in your office, your whole procedure should be educational. And I do ask you, I'm going to ask you a question. How many of you do some sort of healthcare wellness class, spinal care class? Okay, I want the rest of you to start doing it. If you're doing it, I applaud you. Keep doing it. If you're not doing it, take the time and energy to do it. There is nothing that will develop and build your practice more than that. How many of you do talks in your community? Nothing will build your practice. It costs you nothing to go out and do a healthcare class, a workshop in your community, and the return is multifold. Because you get in front of people, you don't need, I am not a public speaker. Anything that you see before you is just me, the product of watching people. Gee, I like what they do. I like how they do that. And I just model it and mimic it, and I create it myself. It's share my passion, share my desire. Is there a doubt in your mind, my passion and love for chiropractic? And when I do a workshop for my patients, it's the same thing. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. They buy your passion. Share that with the world, people will come to you. I remember, second year in practice, I did a talk at some retired men's club. There were 95 retired men in this room. I ended my talk, I handed out literature to everybody. I did a 30, 40-minute talk. And one of the things I did is I had my business card attached to a bunch of pamphlets and stuff, and I went through and I offered them all a complimentary exam. But the first thing I did, it's a brilliant idea. I had this thought flash right before I did this talk. I said, I want you to all take that business card out right now and put it in your wallet. I said, what I want you to do is any time that some health issue comes before you, for yourself, for your kids, for your grandkids, for your great-grandkids, and you think there might be another way or a different perspective, I don't want you to hesitate to pick up the phone and call me. I said, carte blanche any time that you want to do that. For the next 10 years, I'm serious, I would get phone calls. People who come in, I've been carrying that card around in my wallet forever. It was great, just great going on in the community, just sharing your truth, telling the story. When you give a workshop, healthcare class, spinal care class, there are 4 concepts, 4 ideas that you want to get across to people. First concept or idea, health. That health is more than just feeling good. Health is a body that works right. Dorland's Medical Dictionary says that health is a state of optimal physical, mental, and social well-being, not merely the absence of disease and infirmity. And most people think that the absence of disease and infirmity is health. Second thing is the concept of innate intelligence. That the body is a self-healing organism, that it makes all the drugs and chemicals it needs in a lifetime. There's an inborn wisdom that knows how to heal you. And that's what we use, to allow the innate wisdom that you were born with be able to heal you. third concept is the concept of subluxation. The brain controls the body, the bones protect the delicate nerves, and then the vertebrae can put pressure on the nerves and alter the health of the nerve system. The goal of chiropractic, the fourth concept, is to locate and correct those subluxations, to allow the innate wisdom of the body to best regulate itself so the body can be healthy. Does that make sense? So those four are health, innate intelligence, vertebral subluxation, and chiropractic. 4 ideas that you want to get across, whether that's a 5-minute talk, a half-hour talk, a 1-hour talk, or 3 years of chiropractic school. That's basically all it's about. Why do people do what it is that they do in their lives? Why do people do what it is that they do? Why do most people come to your office?
Looking for something.
They're looking. What are they looking for usually? An answer. But what's the motivating factor?
To get healthier they were, and they feel better.
Makes them go feel better. I'm going to propose to you that why most people come into your office and why most people do most of the things in their lives is because of fear. The fear is the primary motivating factor of people in their lives. There's a pain in their leg, there's a pain in their head, there's something going on, they can't breathe right. It's the fear that their body is doing something wrong, the fear that there's something serious going on, a fear of something that brings them into your office. You know, fundamentally, the motivating factors of most people in our world comes out of either doing something out of fear or out of love or passion or knowing that it's the right thing to do. Question: how many of you brushed your teeth today? How many of you brushed your teeth because it is the very best thing that you can do for your teeth and gums? How many of you brushed your teeth because you didn't want to get cavities? You with me? What is the motivating factor as to what you do in your life? Students, do you study because you don't want to fail the tests? You don't want to get an F and have to retake it? Or do you study because it's the very best thing you do for your education? You with me? What's the motivating factor that's there? I propose that most people who walk into a chiropractor's office are resonating in a state of fear. I also propose to you that very often the chiropractor is also in a state of fear. Are they going to pay their bill? Are they going to follow my recommendations? Are they going to sue me? Are they going to be a pain in the ass? Okay. I propose that when two people resonate in a state of fear, that healing will never happen. Healing does not happen out of fear. Fear is a very powerful human emotion. It's not a negative emotion. It's a very powerful emotion given to us by our Creator that gives us almost superhuman capacity, doesn't it? But it's fear that gives a fight or flight response. This is what creates the adrenaline response that a mother can lift a child off a car. Fear, I propose, is that same vibrational energy that allows some people to move across the coals and not get burned. Fear could be a wake-up call, move you through crisis, allow the body to make an instantaneous change to make something happen. Has nothing to do with healing, nothing to reconnecting somebody. In our world, we live in an environment that elicits the emotion of fear very often, but there's no means of expression. You really need a loan to make it through your family, to feed your family. You go to the banker, you try to apply for the loan, and you get turned down. Beating up the banker or running out of the bank is not an answer. Fight or flight doesn't work. So that fear response gets stored within the body. You get a note in the mail, an audit on 26 of your children you've taken care of. You stop breathing, it's a fear response. You with me? Malpractice suit, fear response. Fight or flight doesn't work. In our culture, we are subjected to so many forces that come at us that elicit that fear response. I propose that when that fear response comes in, it may be the trigger you need to, as a wake-up call to make the shift that you need in your life. But to hold that vibration inside of you does not bring healing. As a chiropractor, you want to hold the space of compassion over your patients, your practice members. Allay the fear. Confront the fear. For people to say, oh, I got no fears in my life, bullshit. We all do. As long as we remain incarnate in human form, there is some fear issues that are there that you need to look at and confront. That's your growth, my growth in our lives. Nothing wrong with that. But acknowledge it. Face it. Allow yourself to heal through what you need to be there so you can be there for that practice member and to love them and embrace them and carry them. I used to think that I couldn't understand. I couldn't love somebody until I understood them. I used to think I couldn't love somebody until I understood them. If I've learned anything in my 54 journeys around the sun, you really don't understand somebody until you love them first. Only in that space of totally being open, totally being naked with yourself, I don't mean that physically, God forbid, no, I mean that more on an emotional level, to open your heart to somebody and allow your realness to come through, that the healing doesn't happen in your practice. You'll be a technician. And what drove you to be a chiropractor was not to be a technician. It was to open up that space in your life and in theirs. The greatest gift you give people is your love. The greatest service you can give people is a loving adjustment. Holding that vibration, holding that space will bring more healing, more light into the world than you can possibly imagine. When chiropractic comes from the heart, patience will come from the woodwork. Does anybody here not want to be loved? So we all want that. When a person comes into your practice and they realize, and I'm not telling you to go up to somebody and I love you. We call it practice debuilding in this culture. Okay? But you can love somebody and allow that trust to build over time so that they know that they know that they know how much you care, how much you love who they are. You love what you do passionately as a chiropractor. Your desire to be in service. Your desire to be the best that you can be and desire to have them be as best as they can be. Get them to want what it is that you want. They're going to want to be there. When we tell our story with love, not from ego or control, it'll resonate with a degree of truth inside of people that they've never heard before. Think about the first time you heard the chiropractic story. When it hit you, it's like, yeah. It's a place that lives outside your head, a place where truth lives. There's a degree of congruency and integrity in that process. So tell that story. To be able to go to somebody and say, thank you, doctor, for making me better, and to be able to turn that around to that person and say, don't thank me, you're the guru, you're the healer, you're the powerful being that's there. All I did was turn on a light switch. The genius is inside of you. It creates a degree of congruency inside of them that inside of them, they are the healer. They are the magnificence. They are the doctor. When we adjust from a place of love, we meld together thought, feeling, and emotion. Greg Braden says, when thought, feeling, and emotion become one, you will say to the mountain, move, and it will move. When we can vibrate in a total degree of congruency of the head, of the heart, and of the body, the upper and lower chakras of the body, when they come into total alignment, we will be empowered to the greatest degree where not only can we walk across coals, but we can move mountains. You will attract to yourself the riches beyond your wildest dreams. Because in that space, there is no ego. In that space, all there is a purity of connectedness to the creation of our universe. And you know that what I'm saying is true. You know it in your soul. Even if we can't actualize it yet, to seek that, to strive for that within our own lives. Everybody take a deep breath in. Deep breath out.
What's your dream? What's your dream? Hey, mister. Hey, what's your dream?
What's your dream? What's your dream? For yourself, for your personal life. What dreams do you have? Dream about what you want to have, what you want to be, what you want to do in your life. Be clear on them, write them down. What relationships do you want? What do you see your life being personally, growing, existing? Where do you want to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 50 years from now? I realized where I didn't want to be is 40 pounds heavier than I was. Okay? Sometimes that's what the catalyst is for you to make the necessary changes in your life. But make a decision how you can live totally in integrity. Make a decision, make a choice that you don't need to be a victim about anything, but you're just a student in life. That every life experience is your teacher to allow you to become better at whatever it is that you do. That you can be a leader. You can be a lover. What is it that you want for your practice life? Your space. What's it going to look like? Your staff, your team. How are you going to show up? Is it a job? Is it your life? You make that choice of how you want your dream of your practice to be. How about your profession? Your chiropractic. We all, at some point in time, got touched and realized that we were meant to be a chiropractor. Something touched your soul. And you went on a journey, and school does a good job of beating the crap out of you. And then you get out and practice beats you up even more. And sometimes you lose that fire, that flame that got lit a lot of years ago. I hope maybe tonight I ignited some of that or reignited some of that inside of you. Because that's really my goal. And to step up and to take the necessary steps that we need to as a profession. To be active, whatever level works for you. Sometimes it's a phone call, sometimes going to a seminar, sometimes it's talking to somebody on the phone, talking to somebody down the street. Sometimes it means being part of a political organization or starting a philosophy group. Whatever it is, step up, nurture our profession, and whatever works for you. Yeah, I love being out here doing this gig, but I miss being in practice. There's nothing I love doing more than having my hands on people doing it. And to take time to be able to share this, yes, I love it, but I do miss being in practice. You with me? So do whatever you need to do to get there, to make it happen within your life. You've been telling the people that this is the 11th hour. Now you must go and tell the people that this is the hour. And there are things that need to be considered. Where are you living? What are you doing? What are your relationships? Are you in right relation? Where is your water? Know your garden. It's time to speak your truth. Create your community. Be good to each other. And do not look outside yourselves for the leader. The Hopi elder then clasped his hands together and smiled. This could be a good time. There's a river flowing now very fast. It's so great and swift that there are those who will be afraid. They will try to hold on to the shore. They will feel that they are torn apart and will suffer greatly. Know that the river has its destination. The elders say we must let go of the shore, push off to the middle of the river, keep our eyes open and our heads above water. And I say, see who is there with you and celebrate. At this time in history, we are to take nothing personally, least of all ourselves. For the moment that we do, our spiritual growth and journey comes to a halt. For the time of the lone wolf is over. Gather yourselves. Banish the word struggle from your attitude and your vocabulary. All that we do now must be done in a sacred manner and in celebration. We are the ones that we are looking for. So I'm going to ask you what I started the seminar with or the evening with. What are you going to take with you tonight? What are you going to change in your life? How are you going to leave? What inspiration did you have that you can allow others to become inspired? Will you be a better chiropractor, a better lover, a better husband, a better wife, a better servant? Will you be a better leader for your patients, your colleagues? Hold the space of possibility, greater possibility than you might have had when you walked in tonight. Hold the space of possibility that people will want to bring their kids and stay for a lifetime and refer the people to your office. Hold the space that you can come to a meeting like this every month. Or if it's too far for you to come, that you'll start your own group. Believe that our profession can heal itself and realize its rightful place in the healthcare system at defining what true healthcare is. Believe that we can heal our planet and make it better. I believe that every adjustment that we give to ourselves and to our practice members in our minds and on the spine is a miracle, is a gift that we give to ourselves and the person that we serve. I believe that every adjustment is a sacred act. You have been telling the people that this is the 11th hour. Now you must go back and tell the people that this is the hour, and there are things to be considered. Where do you practice? How do you practice? Are you practicing congruent with your beliefs? Are you seeing families for a lifetime? Are you in integrity? Where is your water? Know what nourishes your philosophy. It's time to speak your truth, to tell the story. Commit to be at core each month and support your own philosophy groups. Be good to each other. Respect other practices and beliefs and do not look outside yourself for a leader. These are the best of times. There is a river flowing now very fast. It is so great and swift, and there are those who will be afraid. They will try to hold on to the shore. They will have to hold on to third-party pay. They will feel torn apart and they will suffer greatly. Know that the river has its destinations. The elders say we must let go of the shore. Let go and allow. Push off into the middle of the river and keep your eyes open and your heads above water. It's better to light one candle than to curse the darkness. And I say, see who is there with you and celebrate. At this time in history, we are to take nothing personally, least of all ourselves. For the moment that we do, our spiritual growth and journey comes to a halt. We have a great mission. To reconnect people to their source, to allow life to flow, to honor the innate wisdom of each rivulet of life, to fulfill the legacy of our dreams. The time of the lone wolf is over. We must collectively transform our planet. Gather yourselves. Banish the word struggle from your attitude and your vocabulary. All that we do now must be done in a sacred manner and in celebration. We are the ones that we've been looking for. Thank you very much. No, wrong one. Thank you, guys.